A former member of the pop group Danity Kane returned to the witness stand Monday. And
she was talking about things that she witnessed between Diddy and Cassie, specifically the violence.
I didn't like him at all. I didn't. I thought he was like, ick. I didn't like him because, Sean and I were very different that way.
So when she took the stand, they began, the prosecution just let her, run down a list of, different incidences that she witnessed when it came to Diddy.
Dawn, Richard just dropped a bombshell that could change everything we thought we knew about Jennifer Lopez and her silence on Diddy.
So sitting there, being handcuffed to a bench.
While Cassie's explosive allegations have rocked the industry, JLO has stayed quiet. Too quiet. But according to Dawn, there's a reason for that, and it might be more disturbing than we realized.
She was talking about things that she witnessed between Diddy and Cassie, specifically the violence.
So is JLO terrified of what could happen if she speaks out? Let's get into it. Week 2 of Sean Diddy Combs' wild sex trafficking and racketeering trial took a dramatic turn in Manhattan. And the drama? All thanks to former Danity Kane star Dawn Richard, whose bombshell testimony had jaws dropping and the courtroom buzzing.
One in particular, she told about a time when Cassie Ventura was making eggs for Sean Combs at his house. Dawn Richard was there along with Kalina Harper. They were in a trio with Sean Combs.
With calm fury, Dawn peeled back the glitzy facade of Diddy's empire, revealing the shadows hiding behind the designer suits and flashing cameras. She didn't just throw shade, she struck a match and let it burn. In haunting detail, she told the court she had seen Combs physically abuse his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, with her own eyes.
She saw Sean Combs come down, attempt to hit Cassie with a frying pan, and then saw him drag her upstairs, and she heard the sounds of beating.
Cassie, who spent 4 intense days last week detailing a decade of alleged abuse, control, and manipulation, now has a powerful voice in her corner. Dawn's testimony didn't just support Cassie, it shook the room. And if what Dawn shared is only the beginning, the truth could pull Diddy and the industry heavyweights who turned a blind eye into some seriously dark territory. The courtroom sat frozen as Dawn Richard recounted a chilling night in 2009 at Diddy's Los Angeles mansion, a moment that shattered whatever polished image remained of the music mogul. According to Dawn, she witnessed Combs explode in rage, swing a skillet at Cassie, and then viciously kick and beat her.
She claims at one point that Diddy had hit Cassie with a skillet and said, quote, he said you could go missing, that we could die.
And it didn't stop there. Richard said that the very next day, Combs delivered a chilling warning to her and another witness. Where I come from, people go missing if they say things like that, if they talk. Yeah, let that sink in. On the stand, Dawn didn't hold back. She made it clear this wasn't a one-time thing. She said she frequently saw Combs get violent with Cassie, often spotting her with bruises and injuries. Frequently, he would punch her, choke her, slap her in the mouth, Richard testified. I saw him kick her, punch her in the stomach. Sometimes it was because Cassie spoke up, sometimes it seemed random. As Dawn's jaw-dropping testimony kept coming, the tension in the courtroom only grew thicker. She wasn't just pointing fingers at Diddy, she exposed a whole culture of silence around him. According to Richard, Combs' own staff, including bodyguards, witnessed the abuse but stayed silent. They wouldn't react, she said. They wouldn't do anything. Think about that for a second. A whole entourage allegedly watched abuse happen and didn't lift a finger. Not surprisingly, Combs' defense team jumped in to try and poke holes in Richard's story, focusing on inconsistencies in her timeline of the infamous 2009 skillet incident.
Diddy's team immediately started objecting to her testimony. Now, the reason why they are objecting is because they're trying to say not even trying, he literally said in court, Diddy's attorney, that everything Dawn is saying is a lie.
But the attempt to discredit her couldn't erase the impact of her testimony, or the fact that she has a pending civil lawsuit against Combs, making it clear she's not backing down anytime soon. Now, how does this all link to our very own JLO? Well, many people think that what he has done to Cassie all along, he might have done this with JLO as well. But right now she is tight-lipped because she knows what happens to those who try to talk about him. Yes, you got it right. And now Dawn is naming many A-lister celebrities who were there at the time when Diddy was mistreating Cassie. Dawn, when cross-questioned, was asked about the names. She said that she can't recall the names, but she knows that she talked with many celebrities. Now people are claiming that JLO might be there as well. Remember Jay-Z's lawsuit where a girl claimed that she was abused by Diddy and Jay-Z? The complaint states that Jane Doe was lured to the after-party by a limousine driver who claimed to work for Diddy. The driver reportedly told her that the hip-hop mogul liked younger girls, a chilling statement that casts an ominous light on his public image. Upon arrival, she was asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement and handed a drink she believes was drugged. The plaintiff alleges that Combs approached her with a crazed look in his eyes and said, "You are ready to party," before throwing her against a wall and then threw her on the bed. Jay-Z is accused of removing her clothes and R-ing her while Combs and the female celebrity watched. After Carter finished, Combs allegedly R-ed her as well. Jane Doe is seeking unspecified damages, and her attorney Tony Busby has announced that he represents over 100 people accusing Combs of misconduct.
The plaintiff, identified as Jane Doe, says she was assaulted by both men at a Video Music Awards after party.
The amended complaint was filed on December 8th, and Jay-Z has publicly defended himself against the allegations, stating that the heinous claims will affect his family. What allegedly followed is a harrowing account of Diddy and Jay-Z's behavior, with Jane Doe claiming they took advantage of her while a female celebrity stood by and watched. The 2000 MTV VMAs was a night of unforgettable moments, not least because of Diddy and Jennifer Lopez's iconic red carpet entrance. JLO stunned the world in her now legendary white ensemble, paired with a chic bandana and dazzling diamonds, while Diddy complimented her in his signature suave style. Their chemistry and fashion choices dominated the headlines, cementing their status as a power couple in the entertainment world.
Somebody interviewing?
Yeah. Oh, no, you're going to continue on for interviews, right?
I want to do the pre-show.
But behind the glamour and flashing cameras, the lawsuit paints a horrifying picture of what allegedly happened after the awards show. Just hours after stealing the spotlight on the red carpet, Diddy and Jay-Z are accused of hosting an after-party where the night took a sinister turn. One of the most explosive aspects of the lawsuit is the claim that a female celebrity watched the alleged incident without intervening. While the lawsuit does not name this woman, speculation has been rampant online. Two names that keep surfacing are Mary J. Blige and Jennifer Lopez, both of whom shared close ties with Diddy and Jay-Z during this period.
She claimed Diddy and an unnamed celebrity proceeded to her while an unnamed female watched.
Jennifer Lopez, who was romantically involved with Diddy in 2000, was not just his girlfriend, but also a central figure in his personal and professional life. The couple was frequently seen together, and JLo's presence at the VMAs that year was a key part of the show's buzz. Could she have been at the after-party? And if so, what did she see? Let's rewind to 1999. Jennifer Lopez was rising fast. Selena had made her a star, and she was dropping hits left and right. Diddy, or Puff Daddy as he was known back then, was already deep into his bad boy mogul era. When the two linked up, it was explosive. They were the power couple, young, rich, and unstoppable. But behind the glitz, something darker was going on. Now, JLo has always played it cool about that time in her life. She said the relationship was crazy, messy, and not sustainable. She admitted it was mentally, emotionally, and spiritually draining. But that's all she's ever really said. No details, no accusations, nothing about abuse. But let's be real, with everything we know now about Diddy, that silence feels loud.
JLo mom didn't like Puff either, right?
His mom couldn't stand. Mom never took a present, a gift.
Cassie's lawsuit opened the floodgates. She exposed a horrifying decade of control, physical abuse, and trauma. Since then, over a dozen lawsuits have been filed against Diddy. The man's being accused of everything from rape to SXTF-icking to drugging women at parties. Federal raids have been carried out. His whole empire is crumbling. And suddenly, people are looking back at old relationships, old interviews, and they're asking, what really happened between JLo and Diddy? While Diddy's parties have been legendary for their excess and elite guest lists, could Lopez have played a more significant role than just a +1? Insiders have long hinted that her relationship with Diddy was more than a headline-grabbing romance. It was a partnership that helped propel her career into the stratosphere. If these parties were as outrageous and influential as Marlon's hints suggest, then Lopez's name appearing on such a list wouldn't be just gossip. It could shake up her polished image.
So, in the lawsuit, there is
They name a third accomplice who's in the room.
Rumors circulated that Jen was implicated in some of the crimes, particularly concerning the incident where Natanya Rubin, who was deeply involved, was injured. She has expressed her desire to have the bullet fragments removed from her face for ballistics evidence, indicating her willingness to reopen the case. Natanya Rubin says she is willing to have doctors remove a piece of a bullet that remains in her face to prove Sean Diddy Combs shot her at a New York club in 1999. I'm willing to have a doctor remove a part of the 9mm bullet in my face so that they can use it as evidence if need be for this trial, Rubin said on News Nation's Elizabeth Vargas Reports. Even if it means risking her life, Nathan also claimed that JLO outright lied to the jury, suggesting that she should be investigated alongside Diddy.
We all had to go and speak at the grand jury. JLO testified at the grand jury, as did many other people. It needs to be reopened because if that is in fact the case, she carried the gun in. And she lied.
So, when it comes to behaviors in relationships, any relationship is not perfect. However, there were instances that troubled Jean. For example, when they would return to the studio and find a bunch of girls there, Diddy would try to justify it by saying that, as a superstar, he needed lots of female company for his image. But Jennifer Lopez is no stranger to the industry. She's been on major networks, dealt with high-profile individuals, and more. What bothered him was when they would team up on her, discussing these girls disrespectfully. Sometimes he would be caught in the middle and she'd look at him, but he couldn't do much because he was Jean's superior.
And they would try to be disrespectful to her. And I would be put in the middle of that bullshit sometimes. And then she'd be looking at me like, yo, Jean.
According to Jean, there was a situation in the studio where a young lady made a disrespectful comment about Jennifer, implying she wasn't all that. That's where the tensions got up. Jennifer was about to confront her when Puff instructed me to take her home. So, he drove her back, and she returned to the studio sporting jeans, a ponytail, maybe some Vaseline on her ears, and sneakers. She seemed ready for action. When she got back, Puff promptly cleared out the girls.
She came back to the studio, and Puff had got them girls out of there. You understand? But she act like she was ready to do something.
So this means that JLO and Diddy never had a perfect relationship. But is it only this? Reports have suggested that many weird things happened during their relationship. Navigating former relationships can sometimes be awkward, particularly when ex-partners turn to social media to share heartfelt memes about heartbreak after a breakup. However, Diddy appears to elevate the post-breakup discourse to a different realm. Recent reports indicate that Jennifer Lopez, his ex-girlfriend, is now coming forward to discuss her past relationship with Diddy. There are suggestions that she may also be addressing allegations related to T within the context of their history together. Let's not forget the 2000 nightclub shooting in NYC. That incident changed everything. JLO and Diddy were arrested, and while JLO was quickly cleared, the scandal nearly tanked her career. Diddy faced an extended legal battle and spent several days behind bars. It wasn't until 2001 that he was ultimately cleared of all criminal charges. As part of the legal resolution, Diddy paid $1.8 million to the injured victims. As per Daily Mail, prosecutor Matthew Bogdanos told a Manhattan Supreme Court jury, the man taunted Combs about his wealth, and after some arguing, somebody threw cash at Combs as an insult. As total bedlam reportedly broke out, with people lunging for the fallen cash, rap protege Jamal Shine Barrow then drew a semi-automatic handgun and opened fire at the man, but instead shot and wounded 3 bystanders. Years later, Jennifer decided to speak about it to Rolling Stone. It was an unfortunate situation, she explained. We were somewhere we shouldn't have been. It was a bad situation. While it may not have been the decisive factor, the arrest and ensuing trial undeniably cast a heavy shadow over the couple's relationship. Diddy expressed the challenges they faced, stating to an outlet, "It's a rough year, and I just want her to be happy." Echoing his sentiments, Jennifer, known as the Jenny from the Block artist, affirmed that the trial had been extremely painful and draining. She said in a show, "The Puffy era was just kind of a crazy, heightened time in my life. He had been in the music business and had all this success. I was just starting and making my first album when I met him. We had this kind of crazy, tumultuous relationship that ended in a bang." While the arrest undeniably strained their relationship, Jennifer emphasizes that it wasn't the sole catalyst for its dissolution. In essence, they were inherently different individuals on divergent paths. Compatibility had been a lingering issue from the beginning, and it became more pronounced when confronted with the pressures of public scrutiny and the challenges posed by Diddy's arrest. In her own words, Jennifer explained, "Our relationship was so in the press that people didn't really take it as a serious relationship. It didn't work out. For me, it was a little more gradual. It wasn't right for me." As reported by the New York Daily News, Jennifer and Diddy had purportedly intended to attend a party at a New York City club. Arriving separately, they entered without undergoing security checks. Once inside, the celebrity duo opted for the VIP section, distancing themselves from the 600-strong crowd. The situation took a sudden turn when Diddy became embroiled in a heated dispute with a bar patron, marked by audible shouts from the rapper. Reports later surfaced that Diddy was taunted for his affluence and responded by flinging money around. Security attempted to intervene and separate the individuals involved, but the altercation escalated, resulting in gunfire. 3 people sustained injuries, with 1 woman struck in the face and 2 others in the shoulders. An eyewitness claimed that both Diddy and a member of his entourage were responsible for discharging the shots.
At that time, it was not going well. You know what I mean? That was who I was. That's how I was raised.
Diddy swiftly left the scene of the crime within seconds, with Jennifer by his side, tightly clasping her hands as they left the club. The police intercepted the Mercedes they used to escape, and a 9mm handgun was found concealed near Jennifer's feet in the car seat. As a result, both individuals were swiftly arrested for illegal possession of weapons. Handcuffed to a bench at the police station, Jennifer Lopez endured a grueling 14-hour ordeal. A recount from an eyewitness police officer revealed she was crying all over the place. She was just upset about the whole thing. Eventually, Lopez was cleared of any wrongdoing due to a lack of evidence. However, subsequent reports suggested she secured bail by agreeing to provide testimony about the incident. Some say that was the turning point. According to rumors, JLO was forced to stay quiet to protect him or herself, or maybe both. And it's been said that Diddy had enough pull at the time to make problems disappear, legally and otherwise. Industry insiders have whispered for years that JLO was traumatized by that relationship, that she saw things, maybe even experienced things, that made her swear never to talk. She went from the flashy hip-hop scene to dating backup dancer Chris Judd almost overnight. It looked like a rebound, but maybe it was a desperate escape. JLO was reportedly at Diddy's infamous white parties. Combs' white parties were held at his East Hampton home, where some of the biggest celebrities in America would wear swarms of A-list celebrities would flock to the waterfront house in the summer for the annual bash. Speaking to the New York Post, one drug dealer revealed the shocking incidents he witnessed taking place within the luxury home, including household name celebrities having S with each other. The anonymous source said Combs opened the door to him while wearing nothing but a white robe before leading him through to a back bedroom to make a coke deal. But these images tell a story of Hollywood history that's both glamorous and unsettling. Set at Diddy's East Hampton mansion, the clips take us back to the late 90s and early 2000s when his white parties were the place to be for A-listers. What's really catching everyone's eye are the candid, behind-the-scenes moments hinting at the over-the-top nature of those days. There's DiCaprio chilling with a drink in hand, blending into the crowd, and J.Lo, stunning as ever, right by Diddy's side, bringing back all the old whispers about their connection.
There's been a lot of alleged saying that him with different celebrities in videos exist, both male and female. Do you know that to be true?
Oh yeah, for sure.
As for Kim, she looks noticeably younger in the footage, which has social media buzzing. Fans have been sharing screenshots and zoomed-in clips, analyzing every unguarded moment of the stars. The footage, time-stamped from the late 90s to early 2000s, shows the peak of Diddy's white parties, back when he was at the very top of his game. These parties were iconic, attracting the biggest celebrities and capturing an era of excess and glam, now being revisited with a more critical eye.
Kids have like an hour left. So get extra comfortable, kids, because after that, y'all gotta go. It's a wrap for y'all.
According to multiple insiders, the after hours of Diddy's white parties reportedly took a disturbing turn. Guests would engage in highly illegal activities, fueled by the freely flowing alcohol and substances available. Allegations of misconduct, including non-consensual encounters, have resurfaced alongside the newly shared photos, suggesting that what happened behind closed doors was far darker than most people realized at the time.
And that's the thing, like, they pass certain laws, like that revenge Law.
Yeah.
That ain't about no OnlyFans models, man.
New witness accounts and details have emerged, painting an increasingly troubling picture of these gatherings. Some claim that Diddy's white parties were not just about over-the-top celebrity indulgence, but served as a cover for more sinister activities. While Diddy's team has consistently denied these allegations, the resurfacing of these images has reignited interest and sparked deeper questions about what really went on at these events and what the involvement of the A-list attendees might have been. Jennifer Lopez's presence at these parties has become a hot topic, especially considering her complicated history with Diddy. Their high-profile relationship in the late 90s was marked by glamour and drama, making her appearances at these events even more intriguing in light of recent allegations. Fans and critics alike are revisiting her connection to Diddy and questioning what she might have known or experienced during those times. With the resurfaced footage and stories, JLo's involvement is adding another layer of curiosity to the unraveling narrative surrounding Diddy's legendary gatherings.
JLo was like his ex-girlfriend, and it's like now deciding she's like warning people against Trump. I'm like, well, wait a second. So how many people did she warn against Diddy?
While Diddy's parties have been legendary for their excess and elite guest lists, could Lopez have played a more significant role than just a +1? And then there's Dawn Richard, former Danity Kane member and close Diddy associate. She's been speaking out very carefully, but people are reading between the lines. She recently said that Diddy also threatens people who try to talk about what they witnessed there. Many fans believe she was hinting at JLo, one of the biggest names who has never shared her full truth. Let's be real, JLo has built a brand on control, perfection, and power, but that version of her didn't exist when she was with Diddy. Back then, she was just breaking through, and Diddy had all the power. There's speculation that he kept her in check with manipulation, surveillance, even threats. Maybe she has NDA clauses. Maybe he knows things she can't afford to have leaked. Or maybe she's just plain scared. Because when you're talking about a man who's now accused of drugging women and running secret parties with hidden cameras, you're not dealing with some cheating boyfriend. You're dealing with something much more sinister. Some fans even believe that JLo's sudden pivot to marriage and family-focused branding, first with Ben Affleck, then Mark Anthony, was a calculated way to distance herself from the Diddy era and bury the past. But trauma doesn't just disappear, and silence doesn't mean nothing happened. And let's not forget, Diddy has always had this untouchable aura, surrounded by yes men, bodyguards, and shady business moves. When Cassie came forward, people were shocked not just by what she said, but by the fact that she actually dared to say it. That took courage, that took protection, and some say JLo simply doesn't have that. Or worse, she tried once and it backfired. So now people are connecting the dots. JLo's silence isn't just privacy, it's fear. Fear of retaliation, of being discredited, or of something darker, that Diddy still holds power over her. Maybe she witnessed something. Maybe she knows where the bodies are buried, figuratively or otherwise. Because let's be honest, in the world of Diddy, nothing is too wild to consider anymore. At this point, it's not even a question of if more will come out. It's a matter of when. And when that day comes, don't be surprised if JLo's name is closer to the center than anyone expected. That's it for today. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.